We are here. Welcome to Not What I'm Referring To, a man who needs no introduction. He's the man who got Osama, Robert O'Neill, also author of multiple books. Is that right, Robert? Do you got anyone specifically? What was your latest novel that came out?
I wrote it. I was with Dakota Meyer, who's a Medal of Honor recipient, Marine. His story is absolutely incredible. And we wrote a book called The Way Forward. And It's more of about, we were just discussing this before, it's more about what are we doing now? Like, no matter what you're doing in life, you're going to be doing something else. You can't really live in the past. And so what do we do next? And so we wrote a book, a lot of former war stories, but how we deal with it emotionally, the humanity involved with it. Like we even get so deep as to talk about, there were missions we were both on, not together, but where we shot someone and just wondered, the only reason, I don't even know this guy, and I just shot him because we were born on separate parts of the world. That's basically all. I killed him because he got a gun, and he grabbed his gun because I was in his house. Why? Shit like that. So just the humanity involved with everything. And, just kind of advice forward, but also a lot of things can be handled over a cup of coffee instead of just politicians sending people to kill each other because they said so.
Spot on. It seems like, honestly, I am so excited to talk and get into it with you, man, because it seems like you are getting maybe a little more philosophical about things than maybe you were 5 years ago. Do you think that's something that's happened as you've gotten?
I think every day, yeah. And 5 years ago, but like most importantly, like since I was like a 27-year-old Navy SEAL, however old I was after 9/11, because I was still with the America apple pie and the flag, and I would have invaded anybody at that point. But then just the real, like if you would have told the guy that going through selection for SEAL Team 6 about the military industrial complex, those have been fighting words to me because there's no such thing. But now that I've been behind the curtains and seen some shit that I've seen, met some people that I met, watching people who are dead broke as politicians, all of a sudden multimillionaires because they're working for contracts, and just the simple there's no money in peace and there's no money in a cure. If you can keep pumping them out, you're going to make money, and there's money to be hidden everywhere. I even before SEAL Team 6, when I was at SEAL Team 2, I went to Ukraine in about 1998. And I would have told you right then and there, the most corrupt country over there is Ukraine, but working for a corrupt government is fucking awesome. I didn't realize how bad it was. Like, if you're into that sort of thing, you want to go to the discotheques and do what's what, you're with the right people, but they also might be former Spetsnaz, current, mafia types.
Okay, so now, okay. First off, let me just tell you this. Just what you just said there is so full of, how many life world events have you been like personally connected to, Robert? Because correct me if I'm wrong, were you not also, you had a part to play in Captain Phillips and the Lone Soldier as well as Lone Survivor?
Lone Survivor. Yeah, I was the lead jumper for the rescue of Captain Richard Phillips. And actually we left on my birthday, Good Friday, April 10th, 2009. I was at my daughter's preschool Easter party in Virginia Beach. And then I got a message, and then 15 hours and 46 minutes later, I was leading a jump into the Indian Ocean. We actually went in with, I think, 103 people. And I led the jump in, meaning I'm the first guy down, and realizing, the training scars of what if I can't find the boats down there? And it was one of those things that you realize, train like you fight, but also train like you train. Yeah. And for the Luttrell mission, I was helping run a safe house in Jalalabad, Afghanistan. And some of my guys actually flew into Jabad, the airfield, before it was built up. Yeah. I'm talking the point where you're driving motorbikes out. You put the green light down, drive the motorbike that way, put the red light down so the C-130 can land on like before we got there was Russian helicopters that got blown up by Stinger missiles we saw the Taliban. I grabbed some guys off. I talked to the dudes that actually ended up dying on Turbine 3-3, the helicopter that got shot down. I saw the boys. We went back to my safe house, and I was so proud to show them that, because we had these contingency funds to improve our living. So I built this like weird hot tub type thing in Afghanistan, which whatever. It was a tub that was warm because of the sun. And I'm in there with some buddies, and I found a dude that sold Heinekens. So we're having Heinekens and whatever, chilling out. Nice. And, all of a sudden they said, hey, something bad just happened. You guys got to get up the mountain. We're not going to fly you there, but you got to walk up. So we spent the next 3 days walking through basically the scariest environment imaginable, trying to find Matt Axelson and Marcus Luttrell. And I was a part of that. It's one of those things, though, you know, if you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plan is, because shit's going to change. And my wife calls me the luckiest unlucky man in the world. Like I find myself in situations. She says that I could step in a pile of shit and find a diamond. And it's just, but I think
have you tested that out? Have you tested that out, Robert?
I've tried. It hasn't worked yet. I'm required to take a longer shower. But I can't take credit for this quote, but I like to keep it simple. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Wherever you are, be there."
Hell yeah.
And that's it. So yeah, I was part of those missions, and a lot of stuff with SEAL Team 6, and I was there for the hottest summer of the awakening, trying to kill Al Qaeda in Iraq.
Yikes! I have one important follow-up question, actually, though. When you were the first man down to rescue Captain Phillips, did you look at him and say, "I'm the captain now"? Now, here's the funny story. That's great. And I heard, because that's in the movie. I heard a story that that actor was a cab driver from Somalia, but he was in Minnesota. Yeah, and I guess he ad-libbed that line. I guess that wasn't even in the script. That's pretty cool. But just so you can tell how full of shit I am, and when I'm telling the truth, I led the jump in, and then I got on a not a carrier, but the USS Boxer, which is a flat top amphib ship, has some Cobras, the attack helicopter, some Harriers, and then Marines. So SEAL Team 6 was commissioned in 1980 by Richard Marcinko for the job of rescuing hostages at sea. So we had the ocean, Delta had the land, the airplanes. And so from 1980 to 2009, that rescue mission had never been done. So we trained. I mean, well before I got into the Navy, the SEAL Team 6 was training for a rescue at sea, thinking of everything from nuclear ships to cruise ships to subs to whatever. But no one ever thought of a lifeboat being towed by a U.S. Navy destroyer. So we simply went around to everybody there, because we had, just about 16 hours to fly over. Everybody here come up with a plan. You're all smart dudes. We wrote them down on a whiteboard, and we're sort of chalking it up to what's the best one. And we simply put snipers on the back of the destroyer, saying, you watch them and make sure nothing unsafe happens as we prepare for the rescue. Right. So we're inside preparing for the rescue, and I was drinking coffee. Something unsafe happened, and those guys shot. And what's cool is there was no countdown like in the movie 3, 2, 1, execute. None of that shit. They just shot because they hurt each other and they reacted to each other. But to get deeper into it, to say how cool those snipers are, because I didn't take a shot. I was drinking coffee. I was in the Chiefs mess. I was a brand new Navy chief, and I thought the Chiefs mess was awesome because that's where they hang out. I'd been to the fleet a couple times. That's where the cool guys hang out. That's right.
But to put yourself in the mindset of these snipers, because it's not a video game, 4 days prior, those 3 dudes were in their own beds in Virginia Beach, and it was a long weekend. It was Easter. So it's like, imagine thinking, okay, it's Friday. It's a long weekend. We've never done this. I'm going to skip work today, and I'm going to drink beer. I'll sight my gun in on Tuesday. Their guns did not need to be sighted in for the most difficult shots of their lives, but their guns were sighted in for the most difficult shots of their lives because they're prepared professionals. I think that's badass. And they're so cool. I ride on their coattails of coolness. One of the guys that came in, so this is 2 years before the Bin Laden raid. He was also on the Bin Laden raid, but up to that point, that was the most important mission in the history of the SEAL teams. I pulled him aside, the lead sniper, and I said, do you realize what you just did? Like, this is the most important mission in the history of the SEAL teams. And his response was, cool, can we go home now?
Yeah. I want to go back to my life
so
with
cool.
my kids.
So cool. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
I'm like, dude, chicks dig this. Tell me about it.
I'll tell you. Actually, I meant to say this right at the gate, but I had a super vivid dream last night, Robert, of you training me to kill a man in Belarus. I don't know why it was Belarus. Wow. And I think my ex-girlfriend showed up in there too, just for good old times. But did you have the same dream? I was hoping maybe did you have the same dream?
No, but I have been to that part of the world though. Back when it was really fun. I went to Lithuania and Romania back right when they were trying to get into NATO pretty much, and right. The dollar was worth a lot, and a lot of the guys were still dead from that whole World War II thing.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. I was single. We were all single. But I never been to Belarus, and I didn't have that dream, but I could see where you're going with it.
It was stressful, man. I woke up like, fuck. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. what did you do? Obviously, Veterans Day just passed. I'm just curious what you did. Did you get up to anything special? Do you take that day to just chill out, do your own thing, family time? What was the last week like for you?
Now, which part of Veterans Day?
Yeah. But I mean, I know it's kind of like, the first half of November, I find is, pretty heavy on
Well, I have anniversaries for everything, and there's good times and bad times. And it always seems after years of war, there's anniversaries that bring up shit. And for Veterans Day, I mean, I think it's great that, I think that it's great that people thank veterans if they see them in the airport and buy them a beer, buy their meal. Sure. And it's still good to hear it. Happy Veterans Day, and it's much appreciated, because as opposed to Memorial Day, you don't want to say Happy Memorial Day because that's about the fallen.
No shit.
No, it's good. It's usually fun. If I can, I'll make it a point to call some guys, and I tell them to, with the good and the bad days, if you're having a bad day, just call someone any day. But if you're having a good day, call someone, because they might be having a bad day. You never really know what kind of, and you don't need to be a veteran for this. You never really know what kind of shit no one can tell what you're going through, but if you can have a minute to appreciate that someone else is going through something, it might make the interaction better. So it's nothing wrong with, especially when you're on a high, give someone a call. But yeah, Veterans Day is great. I wasn't crazy about Hamas tearing down American flags in New York City on Veterans Day.
No.
That kind of pissed me off.
Hey, I mean, there's a lot of pissed off people right now, and I don't think they understand what they're mad at. Like, they know that stuff's not right. They know there's bad shit going on in the world. They don't know where to target it, right? Because they're trying to swim through a sea of half-truth, misinformation, bullshit,
yes.
Flat out bullshit media, and that's why it's time to start having difficult conversations, right? I think that's the only way we're gonna get through this. And also, it's time to just take a step back and try and understand what is actually happening. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, that's important too. The problem is, how do you find out what the truth is? Because, as you know, a lot of people in the media don't give a shit about the truth. They care about being first
and sticking to whatever particular narrative is most beneficial to the conglomerate corporation that owns said media, right? So I mean,
just look at AP News, right? So you have all these local news stations that don't have the budget to send reporters out, so they all take it from one source, and then they all end up saying the same narrative. It's all the same bullshit. And it's I mean, even left and right, if you go high enough up the tree, it's all run by the same people. They kind of know just which lines to put in the water and all that stuff too. And it's just, but I mean, I saw an interview. I don't know if you saw it yet. It will be off the internet. It's off, but a dude was getting interviewed in Gaza by Al Jazeera, which is by no means pro-Western. No. And he was saying something about the genocide. He said, if anyone should be concerned about the occupation, you got to get rid of Hamas. They should be in hell. And the guy immediately stopped the interview. That dude that said that on camera is probably dead by now.
Yo, that's no joke. That's no joke.
Yeah.
And I do like to, it's kind of a good moment for me to acknowledge this. I am hard on government and the security system apparatus. Having said that, I do also understand how blessed I am to be able to say the stuff I've said and not be in 6 feet under right now, because frankly, there's a lot of places in the world, more than people realize, I think, where we never would have made it to 900,000 followers and this and that. We would have been dead at 100.
Yeah, someone's hearing me, and that's good. And tell some of those guys, because I did get shadow banned and restricted because I said something apparently. With people that can hear you and whatnot, I've experienced. I know you've experienced getting shadow banned.
Yes.
Restricted because you said. I mean,
every other day, brother. Every fucking other day. But I'll tell you, if you ride it out, it will. You got you just keep those daily posts, and I see the content you pump out in the podcast. It's because the beautiful thing is, as much as a fickle, see you next Tuesday, the algorithm can be. All hail the almighty algorithm, right? But she will bless you, and then once one video starts pumping, all those videos that got crumbs will also get some action.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Man, it's so frustrating. It's like having your voice snatched right out of you. You know what I mean?
It is too, and this is it's the whole admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. Yeah. When you got someone like Antifa that's anti-fascist using fascist tactics. And that's what it is. Shut them down, change the narrative, and all that shit. People right now there are people getting arrested for memes, And that's
Yeah, that's scary. That's actually scary.
I mean, it's a fine line between someone else owns his platform, but you shouldn't go to jail for fucking with Hillary Clinton. If anyone is fun to mess with, it's Hillary Clinton. And I mean, you got to consider too. You say too much about the Clintons. I don't want to commit suicide by shooting myself twice in the back of the head.
Twice in the back of the head, just like the guy in Maine. What do you know about that?
Jesus.
You know what's funny? I had all this stuff. I knew it was going to inevitably get to heavy topics, and I was excited for it. But I was gonna out the gate just be like, what's the top song on your playlist right now? Hit me with that.
Oh, that's good. You know what? I loved it. Okay. All bullshit aside, I'm on a Bee Gees kick.
Okay.
And right now, I'm listening. The top song is "Jive Talking" by the Bee Gees. Speaking of talking, that's actually look at the way that fits into everything, because we're jive talking right now. We could be full of shit. And I posted a picture. I took it off Twitter because autocorrect just screws stuff up all the time. I had a great joke, and I said I have a cover band called the Barely Gibbs. Barry Gibbs.
Okay, Barely Gibbs. Yeah, sure.
And autocorrect turned it. I looked the next day and it corrected it to the Barley Gibbs, and I'm like, well, that sucks.
That's not fun. That's
People just think I'm stupid.
That's way less cool.
But I think the Bee Gees got a bad rap. Because people associated them with disco because they had like 7 songs of Staying Alive. But sure. I heard an interview with all 3 of them with Morris, Andy, and Robin Gibbs. And they said, yeah, but we sold 300 million albums. That's like right behind Michael Jackson.
300 million albums? Okay.
From like Staying Alive, yeah. Something crazy. And I know I'm close to being right on that.
I got to get on that.
And they weren't just like, they're songwriters, and they harmonize. Like they wrote Islands in the Stream. They wrote a bunch of shit for, I think, for Diana Ross, Celine Dion and shit like that. And you wouldn't think that I would tell you about Celine Dion and the Bee Gees, but I know about them.
Buddy, I'm Canadian. Like Celine Dion is pretty much fucking royalty up here. You know, we got to praise respect for Celine.
Hey, you gotta love that. She comes into a room. And just changes shit.
Have you seen that? So have you seen Celine Dion live? Have you seen her show in Vegas?
No, I'd love to. I haven't seen her. I've been to Vegas. I wish I did.
Damn. Well, that's all right. We'll forgive
There's a conspiracy about her too, because her old ass husband, I think he passed though. God rest his soul.
I think he did.
But there was something with he was so old because he was the overlord and she was like the minion or some weird shit. And she got talented because she sold her soul to the Illuminati. Something crazy. But hey, I'm listening. Whatever. I don't think it's true, but it's fun.
The music industry can't shake that thing. But then you talk to one of our former guests, Imagia, who said that, Jason Derulo tried to get her to do a goat sacrifice while she was signed into his records. So, I mean, it seems like, it's like, you can't believe all of it, but I do think there's some weird shit that goes on in that industry, man. Like, do you ever look into, there's a lot of stuff, like Lady Gaga's friend who died from getting pushed off a building. And then she made that music video where she pushes the woman off the building. I'm just saying, shout out Parasite.
Well, a lot of these conspiracies are peppered with truth.
That's it.
They came from somewhere. And I think, too, I just said this on my podcast today, that you hear people like George Carlin or Eddie Griffin, that they're saying stuff that it's so good and such a good argument that maybe the people that are really in charge told them the truth just because people think, well, they're a comedian. That's their job to say outlandish shit. But it's interesting. Everything from the flat earth to the pyramids were actually upside down. And then, I mean, George Carlin, I think, had the government nailed. And even when I was listening to his stuff, mid 90s,
I can't believe
all patriotic and thinking he's just a leftist hippie. It's like, he pretty much nailed it.
He nailed it. And I swear to God, I have a song. It's a aggressive underground hip hop song that I've been listening to lately. And on the way here, I was listening to it, and George Carlin starts it off with his the government does not give a F about you speech. So, yeah, I love George. That guy's a legend.
And his delivery, I haven't really seen delivery like that.
Oh, it doesn't exist anymore.
Just the speed, the rhythm of the way he delivers his punchlines, too. And he'll go from serious to ridiculous. Like, he obviously had like the 7 words you can't say on TV.
That's classic. Absolutely classic. Yeah, classic.
Yeah, he was. I mean, even the way he explains heaven and hell, and then obviously he was just a legend.
So, all right, I'm gonna dial it back for a second. We got on the road of the Israel situation, and frankly, I mean, it's like you said, what does God do to our plans? Rips them all up, reorganizes it. I got a little foundation here, but we're going to go all over the map. I'm going to come back to some other stuff. We'll get back to some more fun. I do have a couple fun games to play with you, Robert. But what do you think? Is there a proper way to intervene in world events? Like for America to intervene? Because obviously we're about to intervene again. Like how many on the list? Afghanistan, you were there. Iraq, I'm not sure. Syria, Libya. You go back to the 70s, 60s, Vietnam. Has it ever worked? How could it work? And is there a way to actually help this situation in Israel right now?
See, it's a lot different. The last one that worked was World War II, which is the last time the United States declared war, because everything else has been a police action or a conflict. We've never declared war. World War II in the Pacific ended with nuclear war, and I despise that. I mean, even Einstein hated the fact that was invented. Yep. Don't want to see that, but it needs to. If it's going to be one, it needs to be one. Be serious about what you say. Like, how much money is the United States pumping into Egypt and Syria, who are right there, who want nothing to do with us? You need to cut that shit off. Pakistan, fuck them too. Cut that money off. And you can get some money back if you start doing it. What are we paying you for? And they know they're getting it for free. I mean, they think it's funny that we put our own guys in Leavenworth for life for murder at war. That's us, because we have a tendency to get. If you ever want to lose anything, get politicians and lawyers involved, and that's what we do. The State Department has its place, and it should. The military should have its place. It should be where you take the Marine Corps over there, beat the fuck out of them, and leave. And as you're leaving, give them a finger and say no, and then you leave, and then the State Department can roll and say, well, here's why that happened, and if we might have to need to back out, we'll send them back. You fix your own shit, and the money's cut off. You need a real leader like that. The problem is, you get a leader like that, and then the swamp monsters start to they're losing their personal piece of the pie at that point.
Sure.
And if you Donald Trump exposed the swamp, and the swamp came back with fangs, and and they've proven, and you've seen it with his attorneys recently, they will go after your family, they will go after your livelihood, they will threaten you with prison forever. But if you just say you were guilty of something less, we'll let you off, as long as you need to testify against this guy. And that's just a long line of, like, a lot of it could go back as far as moving the headquarters of the FBI out of Washington, D.C. Doesn't need to be there. Pentagon doesn't need to be there. Doesn't need to be. The Pentagon's around because of World War II. We still have it because the self-licking ice cream cone needs to put ice cream back on top of it all the time. There's so much redundancy we don't need. So many.
Would you say that bureaucracy is ruining America? Because frankly, it's a personal opinion of mine, but it's just the amount of time it takes to get through these hoops. And even a man like you who's been on missions, I'm sure there's been moments in that mission where you're at jeopardy waiting for some fuck in an office to make a decision so you guys can, make your next move. And I just cannot, it's gotten too much. Like the Pentagon. So I'll tell you this, I worked on Parliament Hill, Robert, and across from me every day, I looked across into Quebec, a little town called Gatineau, where the world's second most grouped number of bureaucrats worked. Yeah. There's about 30,000. Do you want to know where number one is? The Pentagon. So of course. Yeah, of course, right? So it's just like, I don't know, man. And then I'd go outside and they don't answer. Like these guys would I'd be outside and I'd be like, oh, I sent an email for this. They're like, oh, well, my shift doesn't start till 7. You sent it at 6:58. So I'm not looking at that till, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's good. Yeah, is that productive? Is that helping?
No, and it's the unelected bureaucrats at 3-letter agencies that make it all bad, because even to the point with the lobbyists, how, well, if you don't go along with this, then we're not going to do that. And it's almost like they're making laws when they're not lawmakers. And some of these people in charge, they're not elected. If you want to make a law, put your name on the ballot and stick it out there. But then even if you're elected, you're dealing with the pork, all the bullshit. And we'll put a bridge in your district with your name on it if you just go with this type shit. And I've seen it. I've been there. I've been to the cocktail parties. Even back in the day when I just left the Navy and I thought everyone was loyal. And I saw some of this backwards ass shit, the left and the right, like working with lobbyists. One side saw me at dinner with another and like, well, you can't go to that side. And I'm like, side? What? And I thought there was just Democrats, Republicans. I didn't realize how deep it goes. But just like the EPA has so much power, and they're just fucking backwards. They're not protecting anything. They're hindering progress while calling themselves progressive. It's crazy. Anything with three letters. I mean, look at the FBI and the DOJ. The DOJ is acting like they work for the FBI when it's the opposite. But you get rogue people with positions of power. And what do I need to do to keep my own power? That's why a lot of these politicians don't. They say shit that they're smart, but they're not. They know what they're saying is shit. But in order to get reelected, I got to say this. And it's not even the constituents. It's like who's getting paid up to stuff the ballots the ballot boxes in my district.
Yeah, man. I mean, taking a level further, like I'll tell you, I've worked in politics for 10 years here in Canada, and I worked actually for both conservatives and liberals, which is kind of rare. So I've seen the sausage on both sides, and guess what? It's the same sausage. They're all funded by the same parties, companies, and they behave the same. You're given scripts of what to say, right? And then if you don't say it, those few that go off script, back of the bench for you, you know, and if they keep causing enough trouble, then they'll find a way to sabotage their entire campaign, and it's over.
Well, their go-to also, you got to figure down here in the States, a congressman's got a 2-year term, which means he works for maybe a month or two and then he's campaigning. Their thing is, if you're not towing the party line, we are going to primary you.
That's right.
Not only do you need to worry about you need to start worrying now, because you might not even make it to the general election because the people that fund us, whatever banks, whatever that is, they don't like what you're saying, and we can cut funding. And it's not even a 2-party system; it's a 1-party system. It just matters what you can say. Keep the serfs entertained. And listen, why is it always election time? They're always campaigning. They're always raising funds, nonstop.
It's almost like it was designed that way.
Oh, right.
Like
I said, they're smart. They know what they're doing. But it's like once you see behind the curtain, it's like, what? How do we get out of this?
Well, I think we got to go backwards, but not necessarily so far back that we're taking voting rights away from people and shit. But, we've done that thing that humans love to do, Robert, and that's take a good thing and take it way too far, and to the point where it's no longer a good thing. So, bureaucracy was good. Government oversight was a good idea. Even, you go the other side with it. Unions were a necessary thing when workers were dying by the thousands, terrible conditions. And I mean, let's be real. Some jobs right now, here in America, the safety regulations have been cut. I think partly because of COVID and a million other reasons right now. Health and safety is often the first thing to go when a company's struggling, right? So, I mean, we're kind of slipping back. But I mean, again, I remember we would have interviews with union presidents, CAW, Ken Lewenza. I remember this guy came in there. He had 3 gold rings on his finger, and I'm like, okay, so you're just the CEO of a corporation now. That's all that we've done.
That's it. Yeah. Well, and you make the the union dues are required. Yeah. Even though they're voluntary, you're paying them.
So wait, okay, so
and then the union dues go to one party or the other.
Is that right? I did not realize that. So you guys are unionized in the States.
There are unions and non-unions, but like the major unions, the teachers unions, things like that. They've got they and the Democrats go hand in glove, because these mandatory union dues are going to go towards your campaign. So we're going to make sure the people paying the dues are voting Democratic. So you're going to get reelected. Here's the money. I'm going to keep my position. You're going to keep your position. And I'm from Butte, Montana, a mining town. And the miners' unions started because, being a mile under earth, all they wanted to do was be able to wash their hands before they ate their lunch, right? That's it.
How dare they?
It turned into this nonsense. But again, that's because that's the reason universities are so expensive, and that's why the loans suck, because they got the government involved. Get the government involved, they're going to fuck everything up.
Fucking men, brother. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, but it's almost like speaking the truth. Like, it's so frustrating because you talk about elections, like I'm going to break it down. The way you get good at something is you master the basics. If you want to be good, do it 1,000 times. You want to be great, do it 10,000 times, but
10,
master the basics.
Yeah.
Basics. So the basics are have an ID, show up in person, and vote. Done. Simple. No, can't do that.
Right.
I mean, and again, it doesn't. I mean, does it matter who gets elected? It's all part of the same process. But if you're gonna get, we're so close to communism right now, and these people don't even realize it.
I think it's funny. I think governments have adapted an amazing. They're very able to switch from capitalistic tendencies to communistic tendencies, depending which one's going to benefit them most. Like, I mean, look, China's got capitalism now, but it's, state-sponsored capitalism. And I mean, Russia.
State-sponsored capitalism.
Yeah, sure. That's great. I mean, let's be real, though. It's just such a funny thing because, obviously I'm from Canada, so you want to talk healthcare for a second. I mean, I know for some people in the States, getting sick is probably the worst case scenario. For some, right? If you're not lucky enough or responsible enough or haven't been able to get insurance for whatever reason, and there's scary stuff coming down the pipe with that, my friend. I'll tell you. We were talking about, it's a quick tangent, but did you ever do the 23andMe or like any sort of DNA thing?
I haven't, just for my own personal conspiracy.
Yeah, well, don't. No, there's no conspiracy to it, my friend. They're going to take that shit and they're going to learn what diseases you're prone to. And then if, let's say you got maybe something that shows your heart's not good, try getting life insurance in 10 years when they know,
right.
When they know that you are, they got the clock ticking on you. I mean, it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing. I lost what the hell I was saying before, brother. What the fuck?
No, that's good though. No, I like where you're going because we're going unions and we're going 23andMe, and then also that's the same reason I don't have TikTok, just because I don't want China tracking everything, even though they are. I mean, some of my daughters have said because I told them about TikTok and I'm not going to get on it. And one of my daughters said, "Look, the way it's going now, like if someone wants to find you, they're gonna." That's just the way it goes.
I mean, I think Snowden tried to warn us 10 years ago.
He did.
And no one really cared. I used to talk to my friends, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything wrong," and I'd be like, sitting there like smoking a joint with them right at that moment. And not that I think that's wrong, but I'm like, no, like you are though. If they decide they want to, if they decide you did something wrong, they can retroactively go through every piece of data you've ever had, and create a narrative that may or may not be true, but is supported by data, right?
Even back in the day when Snowden came out, I'm thinking, what a fucking traitor. But it's like he was seeing shit that might concern you a little bit.
Well, I really think, I found it adorable too how Obama, who campaigned in 2008, if I recall, on protecting whistleblowers, was like, oh yeah, let's get him. We got to get this guy. How dare he? And I think he did that multiple times, because they're all frauds, even if they don't start out to be. Maybe he believed it in 2008. Maybe he actually thought he was going to protect whistleblowers, but then it actually happens and exposes some shit. Like, Obama should have thanked him. Frankly, it's like JFK wishes he would have had someone be like, yo, the CIA's up to some stuff, right? I mean, I guess he kind of did.
Yeah.
But having said that, it helped. Like, it should have helped because they were definitely doing stuff behind the back of the president, right? Definitely. And
no doubt about it.
No doubt about it, right? So, I mean, and that's kind of what it goes back to, man. And, like, I kind of want to wrap it into saying, I know for a fact you have a lot of respect for Maya, a.k.a. Jessica Chastain from 0 by 30. You guys accepted that you might die that day. In fact, I think you said you were pretty sure you were going to die.
Yeah, we were basically certain of it before we saw the helicopters that were taking us in, because we thought we're just going to go in. They wouldn't even tell us how we're getting there, but we knew with the it's a long flight in and stuff that people don't consider. There's not a forward operating base where you can refuel, so you're going to run out of fuel, and then you're in the conundrum if you're there on the ground. We're not at war with Pakistan. I don't want to kill a bunch of Pakistani police because they're just doing their job. We're in their country.
Right.
So how do we
Hey, Robert, start over at how do we deal with? It did a little sketch out there. How do we deal with is where it cut out. Whenever you get back. It's tough.
Islamabad and whatever. I can't. You're frozen up right now.
Yeah, Robert, start over at how do we deal with? Sorry, buddy. Yeah, I got you again. I don't know if that's us or on your end either way, but just start again at how do you deal with? You can start at how do you deal.
I just put new Wi-Fi extensions in here. I'm trying to get better reach, so hopefully it's not me.
It's probably fucking the guys Snowden warned us about. They don't want us talking,
that's
Robert.
It. They know we're talking and we're figuring some shit out. That's what's going on.
We saw you.
Yeah, so there were so many variables that could go wrong on the flight in.
Right.
First of all, it's 90 minutes to get there. And we didn't figure about, you got to refuel. We only had a certain amount of pounds of fuel. How long do we stay there to get there? What if we don't find him right away? What if he's hard pointed in there? Then what if the Pakistani police show up? Because it won't be the military first. It'll be the police. The house has got to be loaded with explosives to just kill everyone there. And then the flight out, they've got F-16s that we sold them, and we're in helicopters. We did once they showed us the helicopters. We sold
them. I love that. Yeah. I love that you add that little part in, Robert. I appreciate that. That's
they're not cranking out F-16s over there in a factory in Abbottabad, Pakistan.
No.
No, not quite. There was a lot of there were so many things that could go wrong on that mission. I mean, even just a bullet only needs to be right once.
Sure.
If you turn, some of our guys almost got shot through the door at the guest house on that mission. Yeah. But there were bullets going other ways, and just bad shit can happen. So yeah, we pretty much knew it was a one-way mission, but it kind of came down to this is why we all joined. And imagine it was like the Braveheart thing. Imagine if you said no, because any of us could have stepped off and said I'm not going. Some guys did before they knew what it was. They thought it was just a something else. But imagine if when they said if you could go now to your deathbed and give up every single day from now until then for one chance at this, would you do it? Of course I would.
What part of your training do you think prepared you to make such a intense commitment? Is there something that stands out? Because I think what you just described is hard to fathom for a lot of people. What is it in the training to become, a special ops forces member that allows you to come to that, intensive a commitment?
At first, because I joined before 9/11, and at first it was more the cool guy factor, and also just the how many people back home told me that I couldn't do it. And that's kind of I had an instructor at SEAL training right before Hell Week, which is you're awake from Sunday to Friday, no sleep. But he said, I was 19 years old. He said, you're about to go to war for the first time, and the enemy is all your doubts, all your fears, and everyone you know back home that told you couldn't do this.
Wow.
And so that was kind of the motivation there. Just, get through, be a SEAL, get some money for college. But then 9/11. Yeah. And now it's on because they taught me how to fight. I want to fight. I felt very patriotic just to defend our way of life. Yeah. Not just the United States, but the Western world. And I was smart enough then. I'd been reading up on the potential enemy, and it was a fight against our way of life versus theirs. So that, and then just getting to SEAL Team 6, which, the SEAL Team 6 is the counter-terror team, the Tier 1 unit. Yeah. It's a whole different process to get there. Not every Navy SEAL even tries out, and the guys who do try out, half of them for each selection don't make it. Wow. So it's a very hard course. So that, I got through there just because I got to see what's going on. They were the guys really getting in the fight at the time. I wanted to go there. And then I found myself on missions, but it was, we were never going to get the Bin Laden mission. They had Tora Bora. They kind of let him go. It was always going to be a Delta mission.
Right.
And even when I got into SEAL Team 6, I remember one of my thoughts was, I really hope I get to meet the Delta guy that eventually kills Bin Laden. But for us, it was just off the table. Unless he gets into a fucking dhow and is rowing his ass across the Red Sea.
He's on the boat rowing like fucking Gendry from Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just that was the whole spiel there. And once we got the call to get that mission and we knew what it was, we also knew the risk. We were it was more of a also, I obviously came here for that mission, but I'm fighting for the people on United Flight 93 that fought to the death against Al Qaeda toe to toe, or for the people that jumped out of the towers because it's, there's conspiracy theories there, whatever, but it's 2,500 degrees and people are jumping to their deaths. They were not supposed to be in that fight. I am. And so I'm going. And that mission, that was that mission there. And I'll accept death with that. Because
have you seen downed plane crash before in your time working? Like a plane crash? Have you ever seen a live plane crash site?
I haven't. Even with Turbine 3-3, I never did get to the site. We switched over to a different valley to try to find the actual center of the trail. Nice. No, I've never seen it.
Interesting. Yeah, usually there's plane wreckage and shit. Usually. That's all I would say. That's all I would say. Usually there's pieces of the plane there. So it is just a curious observation that one might make. But having said that, any lives lost that day is obviously a terrible thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is that too. It's the whole thing with there's no jet engines in the Pentagon. It didn't just disintegrate, did it? And then if they say, well, maybe
show us the video.
They definitely didn't get
you got the video. Show us the damn video. They won't show us.
There's so much. What's the video at the Pentagon's the same as why don't they have a video of the cocaine in the White House? You telling me that's a
I'd watch that. Fucking my boy Hunter Biden's up in there getting crazy.
They just released the picture of the bag that was in there, and I'm like, the hell are you bitching about? That's not even weekend. That's like maybe a decent afternoon.
Come on, that's one night with the boys.
That's nothing. That's like, you need that in a fucking cell phone to call your dealer back.
Oh man, I got to tell you, Robert, this is a fucking delight, man. Because I'm gonna be real. I was ready to come in here and not swear. I was ready to be like very kind of serious, and you're kind of blowing my mind a bit, man. Thank you for being so genuine. You. Yeah, bro, it's fucking good.
Yeah, but I mean that's the whole thing too, and I've said it too. I didn't think we were gonna come in and disagree. But even if you are, there's nothing wrong with talking about like the conspiracy shit. I don't buy a lot of it, but some of the arguments I hear, I'm like, that is interesting. Not you, but like some shit that people say. I'm even getting a kick out of the flat Earth guys. I'm like, that actually makes a lot of sense. There's stuff they say that makes you go fuck. But yeah. Well, why don't the flights from Argentina to Australia go over Antarctica? Why are they all going through LA?
Well, because there's a portal. There's a portal in Antarctica. That's why, Robert. They can't go through because the Antarctica portal will suck them in. I mean, or something. Or Antarctica is a very interesting one, though. That's funny you bring that up because, I mean, there is stuff going on there. I'm pretty sure Hitler sent a secret fleet to Antarctica in World War II, during World War II, and then America sent one up there. There's the one continent, no country's allowed to visit. I mean, there's something going on there. I don't know what it is. I'm not claiming to know, but I guarantee you they don't want.
We got people way up north here, but nothing down south. And also, I mean, you got to figure with the Nazis and with even the Russians, they were trying to find that battle Yeti. They were convinced there was that Yeti that was out there, and they wanted to train him. And but there's like two stories of similar of like people.
The giant of Kandahar. Have you ever heard of the giant of Kandahar?
I've heard of that motherfucker, and I'd buy it. I would buy it. I've seen a snow leopard in Afghanistan, and there's just shit going on over there because there's parts of the world where they don't even know what time is. They don't even know how old they are. And I'd buy giants. If in Afghanistan, man, the best way Afghanistan was described to me before I went, I asked one of my guys, "Hey, how is it?" And he goes, "You just got to go see it because you wouldn't believe me. You'd think I'm lying. It's backwards."
Like that's a great point. Like, is it carnivorous? Like caves everywhere? What's so shocking about the landscape in Afghanistan? Like, take me through that walk where you went to get the lone survivor guy. Walk in 3 days. Are you going through 4 different kinds?
No, it's straight up.
It's just straight up. Wow.
Yeah, we had a walk basically in one day from about 1,500 feet AGL above sea level, up to about 10,000 feet, trying to find the helicopter, and it's like humid, 100 degrees, but you're walking straight up. And there were points like because we brought donkeys to carry shit, and the hike was so bad that donkeys would jump off a cliff if you didn't tie them down to end their life. The hike was so bad. Weird shit. And then
fucked up, man.
We got into the valleys where, like these two valleys, the Shuriak and the Korangal. There's been people in their neighbors for 10,000 years or longer, and they've never met. And if you try to go in there, they'll cut your head off. And then I met we were up in there, and there was a little girl, and I saw her, and I they don't drink water. And so I brought her a bottle of water thinking it's so hot you probably need it. She took the bottle of water, dumped it out so she could play with the plastic.
I feel like we're just honestly, I'm looking at my notes. We keep going off on our own, and this is exactly how it's got to be. But we are just at the tip of the iceberg here. And on that note, there was an opportunity earlier when we went off on a tangent, but I wanted to say, what was the reason you joined the Army in the first place? Because you've said it a couple times now. You were a part of the Army before 9/11. I know there was a huge surge then.
Well, it was the Navy. I joined the Navy.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Navy.
No. It's a good story because it was an accident. I was playing basketball in college at Montana Tech, and I got dumped by a girl, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm leaving town." And I mean, I learned so much from that. Like, if you have a traumatic incident, just go on an adventure. get what you can, leave and go somewhere other than there's some bad alternatives you don't want to get into. So I went to join the Marine Corps because I had buddies that were Marines and I thought they look cool and I want to be a sniper. Okay. So I went into the recruiting station, and just as luck would have it, the Marine recruiter wasn't there, but the Navy guy was. And I went in there because of a joke. My Marine friends told me that the Marine Corps is actually part of the Department of the Navy. It's just the men's department. And so I walked in there and said, hey, where's the Marine? If anyone will know, you will. And he said, why do you want the Marine? I said, I want to be a sniper. He said, look no further. We have snipers in the Navy. You just got to be a SEAL first. No big deal. And we'll send you. And I, like an idiot, I signed.
You just got to be a SEAL first. Okay.
I didn't know how to I didn't know how to swim.
Are you serious? Are you a good swimmer now?
I am now.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way. But I mean, just now, I was just in Florida. Last week and just swimming in the ocean, just like a damn porpoise, because I've been there.
I love it.
But
I love it.
When I got in, it was more of a, so I learned the hard way. Lucky, and didn't get hurt. So I joined the Navy for that. Became a SEAL. He wasn't full of shit. They did send me to sniper school, so I got to do that, and then started deploying. And I was gonna get out, but because the 4 years whatever was up, and I was like, you know what, I'm young, these guys are too cool, I can't leave. So I re-enlisted, and then 9/11, well, I better re-enlist. And I just it turned into a bit of a career. I did get out at 17 years, not 20, but just because it was just time, and that's kind of how I roll.
One step at a time. That's it. Actually, are you familiar with a fella, Jody Middick? He wrote a novel called Canadian Sniper. So actually, he was an Ottawa City Councillor. And
I'm writing his name down. I've never heard of him, but I like it.
Yeah, Jody and
What's his last name?
Actually, Middick, M-I-T-I-C. And Jody was in Afghanistan. He actually had his legs blown off by an improvised explosion device. So he was back home. Jody, if you catch this, man, I've been trying to reach out to you. Hit me up, dude, because we did have some great nights in Ottawa. But, frankly, it's a good segue. Sadly, he was dealing with some demons, man. And there were times where I don't think he felt he had access to the support. So how's the accessibility for veterans down there? Is there anything that needs to be improved immediately?
Yeah,
that could be improved tomorrow, something that could be actually fixed?
The way to treat it, and it's not a one-stop shop like the Navy's thing is change your socks and have a Motrin. That's their answer to everything. But a lot of vets, and me too, and other guys, you don't get the treatment. You turn to try to self-medicate, and a lot of that's whiskey. Which whiskey has a time and a place, but it's not for healing. I got bad into drinking and shit like that. What I have found recently is psychedelics, and those
microdose.
I don't want to talk about it just yet completely, but I did a medicine called Ibogaine, which takes you to the spirit world, but it gives you a tour of yourself. And
amazing.
It's hard to explain, but there's different things guys to take: Ibogaine, DMT, ayahuasca, things like that. And they're illegal right now.
All my friends are doing DMT right now. Sorry to interrupt, but it is. It blows my mind because I think 10 years ago, Rogan was the only one talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
But now I got guys, one guy works at a major bank downtown Toronto. He's rocking DMT all the time. And I guess it is a beautiful thing.
DMT is it's the God molecule. And they say you naturally see DMT twice in your life, when you're born and when you die. And I can see that because I've done DMT quite a bit, and I'm a believer. I love it. And it's a cure. It's a cure. But
do I have to worry about living like an entire century in the trip when I'm in it? That's the one thing I get scared about with the DMT.
Sort of, but the trip's but see, the trip's only like 2 minutes on DMT.
I know.
And as long as you just fucking sit still, just lay there, be grateful, and let it eat. And because you can, when I first took it, I thought I died. I thought I went to heaven, which is a good thing. Because as opposed to the alternative.
The other one would not be fun. No, that sounds bad.
No, but see, that's what Ibogaine is. Ibogaine takes you to hell, which I did also. And that one lasted about 13 hours. But once I don't know what it does to you, but we can't get it here because a lot of lawmakers say it's a club drug. You are not going to a club on this shit.
No.
You're not standing up. Like this shit's insane. But it gives you a tour, like your soul. It's almost like you give yourself a tour of your own soul. And like right now, after I began, it's been a few months. I wake up and every day is the best day of my life. It's just insane.
Well, that's awesome,
the positivity. Man. Yeah, you just get and you don't need to be a combat vet to have stress, post-traumatic stress.
Hey,
everyone's got their shit, and this stuff I began, as far as I know, works for everyone from crack addicts, heroin addicts, PTSD, infertility, weird. I'm convinced it's from the tree of life, but it's a psychedelic, and you need to be prepared because in my experience, if you try to fight it, you're fucked. But if you just you're grateful, you're good.
All right, I'm gonna try it. You just said I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
And go with a buddy that's done it, and there's gonna be someone administering it, and you're gonna lay there. They're gonna play the music. And I mean, once it hits you, it really comes over you. But if you can just know that you're safe and you haven't died,
everything kind of melts away. I've heard it kind of described like that.
It melts. Yeah, but you see everything in 360. You can see all around you and mirrors. It's really weird. And the best. Okay, so DMT. Here's the way to describe it: is you're taking off in a rocket. And the first part through the stratosphere is rough as fuck, but once you get into space, you're good. Just survive that initial, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
It's very peaceful. And what you do is you purge. You can sweat or cry, and it's beautiful. I'm a crier. I love to cry at movies and shit. I think it's purging. And so with that, you just kind of.
Me too.
I think,
fucking
dude,
commercials.
I have movies. Yeah, love that shit. But that one with DMT, like good tears just rolling down your face. You wake up, you feel amazing. So I do it sometimes, and I'm used to it. I know it's going to happen. So they say you're talking to the medicine, and the medicine actually has a sense of humor because it's just you talking to yourself. But I did it a couple weeks ago, DMT, the opening day of NFL football. And during the treatment, the medicine said, "Don't worry, we'll get you back in time for the fantasy football draft." And I was laughing. High as a kite.
That's good. Appreciate that, medicine. Thank you.
Yeah, finally tried. I want to hear about it too.
All right. Well, we're gonna put. I want to be there when you're talking about that trip for the first time, Robert. When you're ready to talk deeper about that.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to talk. I was gonna talk about it, but then I want to when I got back from.
Yeah, you got to digest. You got to let it digest.
Yeah.
Really.
Plus, when I got done with Ibogaine, it was October 7th, and just the horrible shit in Israel. And it's like now's not the time to be talking about how great everything can be because it's just horrible. But I tell you what, psychedelics and the microdosing is different. That's something you can do afterwards and sort of.
Yeah.
It's not you're not tripping. It brings you more back to a Zen, very specific, sharp focus type. It's amazing. If we all could do that too, it'd be a much more peaceful planet. Like the shamans were onto something. The monks are onto something.
For sure. Hey, non-violence in a violent world is a tricky thing to accomplish, though, right? And that's
I think too the crazy thing about this is it makes you realize that maybe we're all right and we're all wrong, but we can do it together. And that's people don't need that because if they can't have their conflict, they can't keep their power.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. So if you realize you can go back in time and realize the three major religions are all kind of from the same place that we're still fighting over.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, Despite the fact that, I'll tell you this, Robert, I was raised Anglican. I was in the choir. I was an altar boy. I sang and I had a solo in the church play. got a standing ovation. No big deal, right? No big
deal. I'm just saying.
Just saying. Anyways, I understand the place religion has and the beautiful thing about community, man. I go with my mom maybe once a year now. I'm definitely lapsed and, as many Christians have, over the last 20 years. And it ebbs and flows. But, those people at church know me still, know my name, care about me, man. I haven't seen them in 20 years, 30 years, or, once a year. But it's always that's the beautiful stuff. But sadly, goes back to that little thing, human nature, taking a good thing and wearing it down to the blunt end. And so when you look at violence in the world, there's a tie to just power in general. And it seems we like to bring God into it too, don't we? It certainly does.
That's how the way we ruin God is we got man involved. Just like with anything
well, that's kind of God's fault.
But see, I think God too has a sense of humor because
Sure.
he likes to see what we can screw up, what we can't screw up. But
I mean, without having that freedom to screw up, I guess life would be kind of pointless. So there's a beauty behind that, and I mean, that's it.
There is.
And it's
well,
just.
I started going back, especially after my eye began. I was raised Catholic, and I started going back more simply because of my clarity. Like I want to know why we're sitting, then standing, then kneeling, then sitting. Instead of knowing why, we just all look at the old lady in front and, well, she knows why. That's why we're going to stand. And I started there was that big argument in the Catholic Church about, is it, and also with you, or is it now, and with your spirit? I'm like, well, let's go to the Latin roots of that and study that. What do they actually mean? So it used to be, well, why do you go to church? Well, it's because I like the way I feel when I leave. It's like, well, I don't want that. I want to feel good before I go. So what the fuck are we doing here? So that's like, it's more of a trying to figure it out. And the history and the heritage and the rituals, why? And so that, I have fun. I'll study what they're going to say, and I actually pay attention. And if nothing else, it's a spot an hour a day where I'm not looking, or an hour every Sunday where I'm not looking at my phone.
If you can go 10 minutes without looking at your phone, you deserve a fucking medal at this point.
Yes, and I tell you what, though, if you want to talk about peace and a lack of stress, don't look at I think earlier this week for a full day, I didn't look at it. It's like, wow, I just have nothing but happy thoughts on a workout, and I just cooked something amazing.
Beautiful.
Nobody told me what a dipshit I am.
Not yet. The perfect day can always be spoiled at any moment.
Oh yeah, get on the internet. You can get anything spoiled. I heard a comedian say. I heard a comedian say that I can tweet anything like I like French toast, and 3 comments down, someone will be screaming, "Fuck French toast!" It's like, all right.
You've gone and offended someone yet again, Robert. How dare you? Yeah, trust me, buddy.
Funny.
I used to pride myself on responding. I was very active. I still am. I still can't help myself. I'm very active. I mean, I think there's a lot. The comment section in my post kind of turns into a pretty intense debate sometimes. And
I've seen them. I've read them. Yeah.
And I love that because I think as long as sometimes it gets out of hand, But Rogan talks about posting and ghosting. And I'm starting to understand why you have to do that, because you will fucking drive yourself insane. So my engagement has gone down a little because it's like, man.
Yeah, especially on Twitter. Some of them, I've noticed also that negativity spawns negativity. So if I see something horrible, I'll just get rid of it. But I mean, if they're constructive, I'll seriously thank them for, hey, thanks for your comment, and let me think about that.
Yeah, and there's a difference between those people that are commenting and you can tell they're fans and they're actually just like, yo, man, like this, whatever. And the people the troll that shows up, and it's just like, yeah, I can never help myself though. I always have to. It took me a long time. Those ones stood out to me always, and I'd fucking respond to every single one, man. Hundreds of comments. And I was just like, fuck.
One of the moves I like to pull though is I like to look at some comments, say one thing, and then let the followers take it from there. Because they'll, you have dickheads, but you also have some loyal dudes out there that I love them.
100%. How do you find your newfound, fame, newfound notoriety? Are you, when you got back, when the book came out, were women throwing themselves at you? Do you have a security intel that follows you around town?
The security, yes. And at first it used to be a lot more intense, but, I know how to do it myself. So I don't get into how I do it, but I do. A lot of it is self-security. And with anyone, get a good pump action shotgun, some cameras, and some dogs. Your security at home is good.
Yeah, for sure.
With traveling too, I found that, as opposed to having a big detail, which is going to stand out, be a smaller target. Like, in Afghanistan, if you're rolling around with 3 up-armored Suburbans, you're going to be noticed more than if you're driving a Hilux with no armor.
No doubt.
So there are different ways to do it, security assessments, things like that. And as far as it was funny, and I'm married now, but it's funny with even being a young Navy SEAL, they would never believe you. The girls wouldn't. But it would be like the special unit boat guys. They would say, yeah, I'm a special boat guy and I work with Navy SEALs. Chicks love that shit. Never believed us. They believed them.
All right. I'll keep that in mind. What was it? Special unit boat guy? What
they were special boat units. I think they're called special boat teams.
Okay.
So special warfare crew combatant or something, SWCC. Okay. Yeah, and they're great dudes, but they're smooth talkers. If you're riding a boat all day, that just sucks, so they deserve it.
Is there any other way for like, a veteran? Because I mean, I've seen, like I said, like my buddy Jody, he wrote a book. Is there any other way to monetize after you're out, after you're retired, essentially? Do a lot of you guys, kind of end up going back into it in some form, in like an admin or managerial? Like, I mean, I'm just curious, what are other options you've entertained or that you could suggest to people that are coming up on that milestone?
Yeah, what I would look at, my foundation is called Special Operators Transition Foundation, which is helping transition from special operations to the private sector, because
Beautiful.
a lot of, both men and women that don't realize they have skills that employers want, that a lot of colleges are not teaching, as far as effective communication, risk management, problem solving, the ability to listen and lead, shit like that. But see, the humility that comes with being a veteran, you don't realize that you're actually really good at stuff. And some of the crap that's coming out of universities, a lot of CEOs, COOs don't want to hire because of the fragility that comes with it.
Right.
Like I've had people that are hiring tell me the second they see preferred pronouns on a resume, they can't say it, but they throw right in the trash. I don't want to deal with that. Why the hell? Why would I bring that into my work environment? That's nothing but a fucking problem.
It's
so I mean, it's the don't sell yourself short. And so many bosses of companies have told me that they give me some of your men or women and we'll teach them the job. And I'm talking everything from running a hedge fund to surface finishing to truck drivers, anything they want to do. Like, one of the common questions is, well, where do you want to live? Cool, I'll find you an industry there. And and also, the sad truth is, a lot of times I see that nobody likes to see a veteran fail more than another veteran. I don't know why that is. Don't be afraid to work together, because we were so good at one thing. If we were to get, like, one of my first bosses at SEAL Team 6. So I'm in SEAL Team 6 with tier one shooters in a room. And he said, when we all get out, because this train's going to stop, when we all get out, if we work together, we'd all be millionaires, but that's never going to happen, because we'll never work together. I don't know why that is. Don't just leave the team at the at the exit from the military. Work together, and the realization that simply knowing how to communicate.
Do you think part of that's like almost like a kind of a side effect of PTSD? Maybe seeing each other as a reminder for some people of the stuff.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I like, it's so, I don't know, but like it's so common for someone to say, well, do you know this guy? Yeah, he's a piece of shit. As opposed to just, it's so easy to say, yeah, he's the best I've ever seen. So easy to say that. I don't know why they don't say that.
Oh yeah, negativity is a funny thing. It kind of breeds more of it.
Boy, but once you get away from it, though, that negativity is contagious, but so is calm and positivity. If you just get it out there.
It's you get what you give back a lot of times, and sometimes life's completely fucking unfair. On that note, let's get into one of these funny games.
I'm ready.
Let's play. Okay, so I'm pretty banged up, Robert. So I was wondering this game, and I'm even going to get my man to do a little symbol on the edit. Okay. It's going to be, is John more injured than a former Navy Team SEAL 6 guy?
Man,
so I'm excited. I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm gonna let you start. What's your most most recent injury or most devastating? Start wherever you want, but we're talking broken bones. Something serious. Yeah, broken bones is like a good line. So
my most recent is the most dreadful is sciatica.
Oh fuck, that sucks.
Oh,
that sucks.
And I'll tell you what, that's one of those things where people try to explain it to you, but if you've never had it, you don't understand it. Where
it's like a pinched nerve, right?
It's a pinched nerve, but it affects one side of your body. So it feels like a pulled groin, tight hip flexors, and a fire down the right, like the outside of your leg all the way to your ankle, and then your toes get numb. And it's to the point where like I couldn't lay down. I could only stand, try to stretch, couldn't sleep for months. I actually got an epidural in my lower back, and that has cleared me up for a year, but I was like considering putting a shotgun in my mouth. Like that's the worst injury I've ever had.
So the lying down's more painful than standing up. It makes it so you can't even get comfortable, essentially.
It feels like well, I ended up buying an inversion table that you put your feet in it and then
you go upside down.
You up, because I felt like I really just needed someone to pull me apart, which actually is true because I have
gotta get on one of those old school where they torture you, they pull your body apart.
Oh, the rack.
Get a couple of horses on.
I had
You're like,
but I had,
sign
a,
me
I, had
up.
I had a video. I had the news running in the background. I just hooked up my I just hooked up my inversion table, and I told my wife, "Hey, I'm pretty sure I know how this works. I just set it up. So if I can't get back up, you need to pull me." I actually realized, because I went back way too far and fast, I had it set wrong. I realized that my wife is not good at handling an emergency, so we figured that out. Yeah, just fucking chaos. And then but then I had the TV going loud so I could hear it. And I get upside down. It's all calm. I have my phone in my hand. The blood, like my hair's up. I'm upside down. The blood's rushing to my face, and the TV's loud. All of a sudden, I hear a My Pillow commercial. So I made a commercial saying nothing helps me relax more than the sweet, sweet sound of Mike Lindell screaming about his pillows.
He's an interesting
That's
guy.
that's my latest. That's
the latest?
injury.
Okay, latest injury. Okay, I'm gonna do one that compares to that because it's not a broken bone, but I did have one. This is good because it kind of matches with the sciatica. I was skateboarding as a 14-year-old kid. Obviously didn't have a helmet on because, it's got to be I got to be cool.
Because you're not a pussy, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then, who got the last laugh? I'll tell you, the pavement did, because I smashed my head on the pavement and had a seizure concussion. Now, that's not a very common term. Yeah, I had a full-on seizure. I hit my head so hard. So that was, obviously, I don't remember any of it, but I'll tell you, Robert, it's got a good story to it at the end. I was 5 minutes, but they take me, my friends are freaking out. Buddy runs down the road, grabs Buddy's dad. He's got the brand new SUV, right? Brand spanking new. Still smelled like a new car. Not after I got out of that thing. I puked all over it on the way to the hospital. Yes. And then I get to the hospital. They got the thing on me. I'm trying to rip the neck brace off. I'm trying to run. All of this is missing from my life, right? Like I don't remember it. I never will. I never even knew it happened. 5 minutes, cut. They're asking me the questions. I'm failing them. I don't know what year it is. I don't know who I'm with.
Wow.
Yeah, 5 minutes from getting airlifted to London. And I remember the moment it happened, but it was my mom walked in the room and said, "John, stop it." Snapped out of it like that.
Really?
So the power, yeah.
That's power. Yeah, that's muscle memory kicking in. That's good.
Some fucking interesting stuff, right? So seizure, concussion, I will lay down to compare. Now you can go whatever injury comes to mind, please.
I got a great injury. Now this fits in well to my story though, because I was never hurt in combat, never shot, never sprained an ankle, untouched, no Purple Hearts, nothing like that. Nice. Now I did get injured. I got out of the Navy. And I I blasted my arm. I completely tore my bicep off to the point where it ripped down to here.
I've seen that happen. Yeah, I've seen. It's gnarly, man. It's fucking gnarly when that happens.
Here's how I did it, though. I went to a birthday party for my gay friend Joseph in Dallas. And my favorite part of the story, and he approves of this, by the way, Joseph is as gay as a stack of strawberry pancakes. Like, he's as gay as they get. And
bro, I love
he knows
pancakes. Go on.
He knows I'm a retired Navy SEAL. I picked a bowling ball up at his party and it snapped. And I looked at Joseph and said, "I need to go to the emergency room right now." And he looks at me. He looks at me and he goes, "Are you serious?" So, and the hardest I've ever heard anyone laugh is the hardest I ever heard anyone laugh is when I called my mom and told her. She was crying, laughing. I'm like, "Mom, this isn't funny. Like, I just tore my bicep. I'm glad you're getting a kick out of this." Sure. So that's my best. My best injury story is bowling. I didn't get shot, but bowling, I blasted my arm.
My mom did something to me, not quite that hilarious, but she was nice enough to tell me my teeth were looking a little yellow in the videos, so she bought me some teeth whitening stuff.
Are you serious?
I used it. And this isn't even the worst part. I used it, Robert, and it worked. My teeth are a little whiter now, and I'm like, "But Mom, my teeth are super sensitive." She goes, "Oh yeah, that'll happen." I'm like, "The fuck? You knew this was gonna happen? What the fuck?" Anyways, all right. So, circa 2012, I'd just broken up with my first love of my life, university, like an absolute moron. I got a girlfriend the first week of university, Robert. First week. What was I thinking? Anyways, I made that decision.
Yeah, don't.
Was with her for 2 years. She broke up with me. My life was ruined. Long story short, I was trying to get her back. It wasn't working, but we did have one night where we did kind of hook up again, and I slept over. And her roommates woke up before us, which I guess was not supposed to, that wasn't how it was supposed to go. I was supposed to get out of there quick. I think maybe she had a boyfriend at the time. I don't know. I've never asked. But she was like, she was stressed about it. So I said, well, I used to do stunts when I was a little shithead. I'll just jump out your second story window here. No problem. There's a little snow on the ground. No. Oh, yes. And there's a little snow on the ground. And Robert, I could have done it safely if I would have like hung, right? Like lowered myself, hung and jumped. I put my fucking legs up like this and just hopped like this. And halfway down, I was like, well, this was a mistake. Yeah, shattered. I land. She's looking down at me. I'm on the ground. You okay? No. Brings me inside with all the girlfriends standing there making breakfast. So it was a shattered heel. When the doctor came out, she goes, your heel is dust. That is what she said to me.
A shattered heel?
Yeah, buddy. I still limp from it. To this day, I will have a cane. Yeah, not good. But one hell of a story. And, you know, I had the best cigarette of my life, and I learned a valuable lesson. Yeah, the cigarette I had in the cab on the way to the hospital, because it's got to be the most painful. And, buddy, when they had to take it and wrench it back to put it into the cast, right? I think that's the most pain I've ever felt. Yeah, God.
That's like almost passing out type pain.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah, they had me on some, not the morphine, but the stuff that starts with a D. So, you know, I was okay. But yeah, I learned a valuable lesson that day, Robert, that the walk of shame is preferable to the window. So any young men out there.
Yeah, especially, you leave the window, you can't even walk through the walk of shame. You're getting drug out by girlfriends.
It's just literally backfired in every way. So let's see. I got about 10 more. So do you want me to just rally them off? Or you do one more if you got another one. Let's hear one more from Robert.
No, that's my only good injury. That's it.
Okay, I got you. Broken dislocated thumb. Broken dislocated elbow, broken jaw. These 4 teeth are fake. Broken knuckles.
Is that for fighting or from skateboards or just from jealous girlfriends?
The broken jaw, which mind you, was not the typical broken jaw. I had the bars on the back of my braces. This was when I was 17 in Mexico. Got sucker punched on the discotheque dance floor because of my buddy. Listen, we did this thing called whaling, where we just would like skinny dip and make whale noises in the pool after the bars close, you know. And anyway, we'd blow the spout up in the water. So my buddy was doing that on the dance floor with his drink. So yeah, he's a doctor now, mind you. Shout out Mark, thanks a lot.
Nice.
So the girl thought it was me, dumped her drink on me. I turn around, her man's in my face. I think we had bought some painkillers off a pharmaceutical store down there in Mexico. So I was a little bit, so I just shoved the guy without really thinking about it and then stood there like this, Pop. So the brace bar took my 4 teeth out horizontally so they would move around like one loose tooth, like the 4 bottom teeth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really unique. And obviously I didn't know what was happening. So I didn't go to the Mexican dentist because, you know, I was like, nah, it's just a loose tooth. I got back up home. It's been a week now. He's like, how long you been walking around, John? I'm like, a week or so. He's like, your jaw is broken. Your jaw's broken. Broken like this.
Oh, shit.
So anyways, 4 root canals.
I think that's a rule in life right after don't start a land war in Asia is don't go to the Mexican dentist.
Straight up, man.
I could be spitballing. It's not written down, but I'm thinking it's somewhere around there.
It sounds like gotta be top 3 unwritten rules.
It's up there.
All right. Well, look, guys, that's the first session of is John more banged up than an army guy, and literally just from poor life decisions. Isn't that something, Robert?
That's generally how you get there. Anyway, any misadventures because of a bad decision.
Oh my God. Okay, we got one more fun thing, and then we're going to. Yeah, I think this is actually perfect. Let's get the game queued up. So I curated a game for you, Robert, and it's.
I'm ready.
It's was this on Osama's computer or not? So we got just some pictures we're going to show. Here we go. So
now, do I have to confirm whether I saw them, or do you know whether or not they were there?
I know, but I'm also just like, I want to see if you know, and I just wanted to show funny pictures.
Okay, I'm gonna guess yes or no.
Yeah,
okay.
You're guessing yes or no. All right, wait, do you see that on your screen, Robert?
I don't see. I just see you on my screen. I don't see anything.
Oh, 1 second here.
No worries.
Oh man, this one's great. I actually remember I saw this this specific one.
Let's see. Okay, something's happening. Okay.
Something's happening? Beautiful. Okay.
So it's Karl Marx. Capitalism, more like capitalism. Am I right, ladies? Karl Marx, probably. I'm saying that was not on Bin Laden's computer.
That's correct. That was on the. That was actually. I saw that printed out one time in my university.
That's so
dorm.
fucking funny though. I always love the quotes that say probably.
Probably, yeah. He probably said it at some point. You know.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Was this photo on?
As much as I want to say yes, I have to say no.
No, that's Big Gay Al's boyfriend from South Park, as we all know. Okay, you're 2 for 2 so far. What about this one?
Yes, that was on there.
Yes, it was. God bless him. I mean, I get
think
it.
that might have been his. That might have been his screensaver when I walked in there. I made sure not to shoot the MacBook.
You're like, why is James Gandolfini staring back at me here?
Yeah, James Gandolfini was SpongeBob. That is kind of funny. That was on there.
All right, you're 3 for 3. Wallace and Gromit.
Yes.
Yes, it was. My man knows his shit. We are 4 for 4. Yes, sir. Who doesn't like Wallace? What about this picture?
No.
Those are my boys. Those are my boys.
I'm just kind of guessing what you said. That wasn't on Bin Laden's computer, but after this, it will be on mine.
Oh my God. All right. I think there's one more, Robert. What about Mr. Bean? Was he on there? Yes,
that was
he
on
was. Yeah, he was a big fan of the Beaner. I never liked Mr. Bean. Were you a big Mr. Bean guy, Robert, ever? Was there ever a time in your life where you thought that shit was funny?
No, I can tolerate like his greatest hits they make like GIFs or memes out of.
Yeah.
But
okay.
he kind of just annoyed me. I mean, you got to give him props though for being really original.
Oh, I think that was fantastic. Thank you, Nick.
I got all of them. So basically, what you can say is, Rob is 100% right. He tells the truth about everything Bin Laden.
It's locked in. It's done. It's considered done.
Great.
Okay. Fuck me. Serious face.
Yep.
So we've talked a lot about various things. I want to go back to one thing. I just remembered that thing.
Yeah.
Remember earlier where I was like, I fucking forgot what I was saying. So I'm going to go back to it. We talked about Maya and the respect you have for her. Now, do you think it's fair that some bureaucrat for the CIA can send you in to die just to clean up their own mess? Because, I mean, I think we all know that the CIA helped weaponize and train Osama at this point. Is that not counterintuitive? And also, does she have a right to send you in to die?
In her defense, she didn't want to send us. She wanted to bomb it because she knew he was there, and that was her entire job. She didn't do anything else for them. She did that for her entire career. Right. And
yeah, that was her thing.
So
that was her
and
thing.
She was so dedicated to that mission that she gave up her life. She didn't have a husband or kids. She did that all day long. As far as the agency, with they're arming the Mujahideen to fight the Russians because that's the flavor of the day, the communism, and then all of a sudden, there were people in the agency like Gus Africados that knew that once we get done with Russia, we train these jihadis. They're coming here. So there were guys that knew it. For her, she was so convincing and so fucking awesome and so tough that we didn't do it for her, but I believed her. I believed her 100% because like we would get done with a training mission and she would point at the table, the 2-scale model that someone had made and say, Osama Bin Laden is on the 3rd floor of this building right now. I don't know why we're not going. Have a good night.
Right.
So for her, no, there was, nothing but love for her to this day. I haven't seen her in a long, long time. But she was totally cool up to the, right to the end. And then I did see her a few months after the Bin Laden raid in New York over some drinks and the opening day of the NFL season, which is pretty funny. But agency, the bureaucrats, but it all depends on what you want to get into. And if they're going to help us get that mission, there's no hard feelings whatsoever. And just like the way that it finished with me getting out of the Navy, it was like I came in through the front door, I want to leave through the front door, and I owe them nothing, they owe me nothing.
You made a decision, you knew what you were getting into, so you think it's as far as it's all above board, and that is a super mature and kind of, I guess, positive way to look at it. Are there fellow vets who have had a different experience with it? Do you know anyone else that sings a different tune? I mean, I'm just curious at this point.
The guys on the mission, the big mission, the Bin Laden?
Sure. I mean, or anyone that resents what the government asked of them. Because I think a lot of times you guys are asked
the way that it was. Yeah, that's exactly the way they put it too. They're not really resentful because these are great dudes that I worked with. And when we talk about it, because, you know, getting older now, it's like the common response is they asked a lot out of us.
Yeah. No, it's not,
so
it's
that's
undeniable.
what we kind of give each other breaks now and then. And people have their bad days. And they've even said it like sometimes I have bad days and then my mugshot ends up on worldwide newspapers. They don't all get that treatment. So more power to them. But, you know, I'm not the only guy to rip it up one night and get into a little bit of trouble. But
allegedly.
all in all, I mean, allegedly. But you know, we can look like some of the best missions we were on that made us the operators we were in Iraq. We just got good at doing that because we're in Iraq. But then you look back at why did we go to Iraq? You know, a lot of shit went down for a lot of the wrong reasons and a lot of selfish reasons. So yeah, I mean, I think it's important as long as people realize that they did their jobs and they didn't let the person next to them down. You can't get too macro with everything and think, well, if, you know, it's like there were decisions made. You're in a position where make the most of it, take care of your people. And if they need you now, call them. If you need them, call them. So
it's like you said earlier, right? Life ain't fair and life ain't going to go according to plan. Deal with it. Like I can kind of get that. I think that's it's a healthy way. It's a healthy way to look at it, Robert. But, you know, you mentioned Iraq and the weapons of mass destruction. I mean, have you ever considered that Osama might have been scapegoated? Is that something you've ever wrestled with?
No, just, I mean, again, just because of the intel that I got when I was there and then just seeing him at the end and then knowing the conversations that were there. I mean, I did get some transcripts where he was telling his kids, don't get into this line of work, which is fair.
Yeah, but I like to hear that.
No, I mean, reading some of the stuff, just some of the papers that we did get from that, he was still running the show. He was still to the point of communicating with Abu Musab al-Zarqawi in Iraq, like saying you need to tone it down a little bit because you're being too brutal on air. And then almost the worrying that he's, you know, al-Zarqawi was pretty much public enemy number one for a while. I think Bin Laden thought he was actually, I remember the name. He was actually stealing some of his thunder. And he was just more brutal. Like, I mean, he was a prisoner. He was a prisoner with tattoos. He was a lot different than Bin Laden, who was, in a billionaire family. But no, as far as he was not that Tim Osman you see on the internet with the clean shave and all that shit. That's all bullshit.
So that's not real. You don't think that Tim Osman stuff is real?
No, it's not real. He was not like he was an agent that went to Langley and got a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, was he benefiting from some
he's
shit?
A fucking rich. He's a rich oil, Middle Eastern guy. Like his family was fucking loaded. He's just another rich guy that was trained by the CIA. But
there was the CIA was over there, and that desk was running weapons to defeat the Russians, and he happened to be a part of it. I mean, there's legends of him being this great warrior. He was probably shitty. I can't take their word for it, but some of the jihadis over there said the rumors were he didn't know what he was doing fighting, but he had the money, the backing, and the organization. He was charismatic. He had followers. But again, too, I forget which member of his family, but one of the events I went to years ago, I talked to one of his family members and said, "What is the deal?" Obviously, with Osama bin Laden, because you're in the bin Laden family, and she said, "Look," and this is one of the best answers I've ever heard. She said, "Look, if you take 10 members of any family and line them up on a wall, one of them's going to be a fucking asshole." That was him. Yeah, that's a very, very, very simple way for a Saudi Arabian to put it.
I kind of like, I like that it kind of, I think something I try and do, more and more, especially as the world continues to find new ways to divide itself, is to humanize people. And I like to hear that because it sounds like it's just like, it's just another family with access to things that a normal family doesn't have access to. There's the black sheep of the family, and he's a little fucker, and
he's a prick.
Yep. And I mean,
the human aspect of everything you don't realize, and this is something as simple as the shit going on with Hamas and Israel. What I said is, to keep it simple, who would you rather be captured by? The Israeli Defense Force or Hamas? That tells you who the good guys are.
It's an interesting
And
question.
I like the way that I like, okay, when I was the first guy into Bin Laden's bedroom, and I had his 2-year-old, after I blasted Bin Laden, I had his 2-year-old son right there. And I put my hands on him. The only thing I did was move him out of harm's way.
Right.
When I could have easily gotten rid of him and no one would have ever known. But that's not what the good guys do.
Right.
Because there is a human element and we're able to see that. And again, if we're not listening to the people in power and just killing each other for that reason, if we took a minute, you're going to realize that, I mean, people suck online, but in person, people are normally good. One of my favorite quotes too, that sums it up, keeping it simple, is from Babe Ruth. And he said, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats.
Right.
So we hear the loudest, the negativity, but I mean, look, if you look on the internet right now, the sky's falling, but if you go outside, a lot of people just want the same thing, and that's to feed the family and keep the lights on.
Isn't that the truth, man? I think there's a lot of people just trying to survive right now, and God damn it.
Yeah.
I think you said this. I was just in my head. I'm like, who said this? I think it was you in another interview talking about the block of logs that can't be untied. You know, together we are strong, individual. So I want, if it was possible, Robert, I'd like to take every middle-class person in every country in the fucking world. I don't care about your race, your sexuality, your religion, or nothing. If you're not part of the 1%, you're on my you're on my side. I know that's not realistic, but that is the message.
I think the quote that you heard about me was, I'm going to get out of this line of work and go become a truck driver in Canada. They got a pretty sweet deal.
You know what they do, actually? I
know that route. I've been to the Calgary Stampede. I've been to the mall in Edmonton. Going from, for me in Butte, Montana, going up to Edmonton, man, that's going to the city, baby.
That's right. I mean, now listen, I want to just, one thing I want to touch on, like imagine, like it's like you're standing there and you're watching this plane, and then all of a sudden this building explodes and you lost your family, right? What do you think I'm talking about?
Which one, about 9/11?
Well, or yesterday in Palestine, right? You're going to create heroes every day, and you're going to create good guys and bad guys. You're going to create. What I'm getting at here, Robert, is I do understand the sentiment, and I think some things transcend, like hurting children. I think no matter what, you can say that's an evil act. Almost no matter what. Evil. But evil is all about perspective. Maybe that fucking poor bastard, I'm not trying to justify his actions, Robert, but maybe he lost his kids to a bombing. Maybe he watched his whole family die, and he wants nothing but to bring pain to the people. And I mean, I think you talk about all the people that joined the military after 9/11. What's the difference?
Yeah, well, they wanted revenge, that's for sure. I think, but I mean, this isn't something that gets solved in a knee-jerk reaction. One of the keys to the long-term solution is we got to stop teaching hate. Because, you put two little kids in a room that don't know anything, they're not going to hate each other unless their parents are teaching them to hate the other guy based on their religion or how they look or their orientation. And that, I mean,
right.
If you see someone that you love get hurt, you're going to want revenge. And that keeps happening. And
yep.
It's hard for me to say not to do that, because look at the response to 9/11. And then they will tell you that 9/11 is a response to what we did over there.
Sure.
And it's the back and forth. I mean, you only know what you're taught, and if we're teaching bullshit to people, they're going to hate each other. I mean, look at Hamas
easy,
right now.
Right? It's way easier to just hate people, right, than try and understand them. Hate's so easy. Yeah. It's like fucking easy, done. Hate that guy, piece of shit, like you said earlier, right? It's way easier.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, even the book that we talked about at the beginning of this with Dakota Meyer, in the Way Forward, he's got a story during the mission where he was awarded the Medal of Honor, where it got down to a hand-to-hand fight with a dude in a valley that's different part of the world, and it got to a point where he's got to kill this guy with a rock, and he's looking at this guy eye to eye, and his only thought, other than killing him, which he did with a fucking rock, was, I don't even know this guy.
That's heavy.
So that's fucking deep.
That's heavy.
And that's shit I've never seen that before.
So, I mean, in that, in light of all of that, I think there's one thing you could say which transcends, is that Americans, Canadians, anyone, I think, any reasonable person likes to think, would like to trust their government and think the government is making, is making decisions that are in my best interest to make me safe. Now, is it possible to trust your government without transparency?
No.
No, I don't think so either, my friend. I don't think so either. Because
and I think with in order to get transparency, you need simplicity. And that's just when people say layers of red tape, that's exactly what they're talking about. It's like someone getting a bill to sign that they've never read 5 minutes before the vote, and it's 10,000 pages.
Oh, sure.
And they just sign it,
or
they have
Diane Finkelstein's granddaughter telling her how to vote. I mean, that's a whole other thing, I guess. Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even with in Washington, D.C., the Capitol has become a retirement home, and people are dying in office. That was never the way it was supposed to be. It's like, you got senators in there that have been working together for 40 years. It's like, what the fuck is it? What are you doing here? And what have you
Politics
created?
should not become, it shouldn't become like habitual. It shouldn't become natural to you where it's like, oh yeah, it's just another day. And like, it's supposed to be something that matters. You're supposed to go in there with vigor and want to change things properly, not sit there till you die.
What's the saying that show me a rich politician, I'll show you a crook. And every politician is rich now. The only person who's lost money in the Oval Office is Donald Trump.
Well, Donnie, listen, what's happening to Donnie is akin to what Putin does to his political enemies in Russia. That's how I perceive it. Having said that, Donnie's been around a minute. He knows his way around the block. I mean, he used to get like $300 million tax cuts for his, Trump Tower in New York City, various other things. So, I'm lukewarm on Donnie. But having said that, I hate to admit, I'll say this, Robert. I hate to admit that I'm seeing that he's getting it pretty hard right now. And it pains me to admit that. But it is kind of ridiculous what's happening. And it's only going to make him stronger.
They're trying to jail him without due process. They're trying to get him off the ballots in certain states. That's fascism. That's what they do in Ukraine.
Yeah, man. I mean, they've never done it to any American president other than him. So I don't know.
No, he's impeached twice, and they don't even know why they did it.
Because they were told to, right? That's why.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like you look at RFK Jr., who could maybe be kind of a cool alternative here. And I got to shout out my man Spike Cohen. I should connect you with him, actually, Robert. We'll talk about that. He's a great guy, libertarian. He joined the Army after 9/11. I think he's got the right stuff. Unfortunately, independent candidates are doomed to fail for now. But I think that might be.
All you're going to do is
talk about ways out of this situation. If we could all, people, they make you think an independent can't win, so you don't vote for them.
No,
but they don't tell you he can win if you all vote for him. So I'm just trying to plant that seed.
You gotta raise. You're not going to get the money.
RFK Jr.'s asking, please, let me know what happened to my fucking family. Release the files. And they, do you think they'll ever release those files for RFK?
Everyone involved with the JFK thing is dead. They still won't release them, to include the Trump administration. Why is that? Why can't you get a straight answer out of anybody? And RFK Jr., I tell you what, people said it was gross. He won so many cool points, as far as I'm concerned, with the wearing the bare feet on the plane. That's just awesome. I love that move. Because it's like, well, you know how dirty that is? Well, the bottom of my shoes are just as dirty. You don't have a problem with me wearing those around. So what the fuck's your problem? Yeah, I thought it was... I've done that before, not bare feet because I have socks, because I'm not an animal.
Right, right. But I mean, maybe it's good. You got to work on, you got to get those hobbit feet going, for the pending, world apocalypse. You got to have those big honking hobbit feet. You got to walk around.
A lot of people say you got to be barefoot so you can stay grounded with your roots, and you got to feel the earth.
I have heard that. Stand outside with your bare feet for half an hour a day or some shit.
Well, they also say you need to get some sun on the old O-ring on your beehole. I don't do that quite yet, but if that'll get me a few more inches on my vertical leap, maybe I'll try.
Let's go. I know that there was that one. There was the one university sports coach. I can't remember, but he told his boys to let their balls get some sun, and he was literally he was serious. He's telling them to I think someone was like, no, that's how you get fucking cancer, bro. That skin's not supposed to get a bunch of sun. That's why it's down there. Anyway. Don't, so the jury's out. The jury is out on tanning.
I'm gonna do some
the
research
boys.
on this.
Yeah, get do some research. Do your own research. You know, make sure you can get into that. I'm curious. Have you seen the speech about secret societies by JFK? You ever seen
By
that
JFK?
one? Yeah. If not,
no.
Okay, let's play it. It's just a minute and a half, and then we'll be at our final segment of the night, my friend. But I do just want to share this for you and for anyone else who hasn't seen it, because what's funny, Robert, is this video used to be on. It was clipped all over YouTube 10 years ago. It took me half an hour. It took me half an hour to find it today. I did dig through Reddit and I found it.
Before we see it, I have a request for you, because I know you know how to find stuff. I can't find a downloadable version of the movie The Cannonball Run. If you can find that, get that to me. What a great movie! Do that
for you. I'll fucking get that.
I need it. I need that movie.
So Cannonball Run. We got the music suggestion and a movie suggestion from our man today.
Yes.
We love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparation.
So that's just a little piece of it. That's mind-blowing, is it not, to hear him say those words?
Yeah. Well, and the more that you hear stuff that that JFK said, the more stuff he was involved with Cuba, with things like that, secret societies. I mean, it leads right back to who made the call and how they got it done. Because you're at a time when everyone believes the media and the country is doing everything 100% right. We're the good guys. There's no way the CIA did this. Yeah, you kind of see where it's headed. The secret society thing too. His family was because it was you got to figure it was him and he and RFK were basically running the show there.
Yeah, that's true.
So they both got assassinated.
Also true.
Yes. And my mind just kind of wandering here. Like I've been invited to Bohemian Grove. I hadn't gone. I wish I did.
Holy fuck.
But I'm gonna try to go next year. Just don't tell anybody.
Bro, we gotta Alex Jones that shit. Bring me. Put me in a box.
No, I got invited before I knew what the hell it was. I didn't go. Maybe I want to get in there. I got to see that shit.
I'm strapping a go cam. We got to strap a go cam onto you if you go in there, Robert.
I wonder what. Yeah, I don't know what the security. If I get invited, I got to see what's going on. I don't want to, just to get in. I don't want to be S in the D. If you know what I'm saying. But
that's fucking they do. It's like these fucking grown ass men. They get all dressed up and do rituals. It's so weird. It's like fuck. I don't know.
That's what I've heard, and I have friends. I have friends that have gone and they've told me that it's like. they said it's weird. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like a
It's
big
fucking
booze fest.
drama
Like, they're
club.
not even drinking. They're just weird.
Oh, they're
weird
sipping
shit.
their scotch, talking about fucking. Anyways, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Can I ask you something, Robert? One thing
Sure.
before I
Yeah,
get
go
into a final, and I do just have one kind of thing we'll close with. But why? And this is a question I'm very happy to ask because I'm very honored by it. But what about my content resonates with military personnel? I'm just curious because I do have a pretty substantial, amount of fans, and they reach out to me. They're usually the ones actually that are the most interactive and sending me, messages. I'm just curious because obviously you guys were trained, even to the point where you're the good guy, and you guys were trained to be American patriots. And let's be real, I'm pretty hard on government. I'm just curious what resonates my content with you guys.
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but for me personally, it's having traveled as much as I have, not just to war zones, but to other places. I think it's upwards of 70 countries I've been to.
Holy shit.
And realizing that, like, one of I think I came up with this, it's a large planet, but it's a small world.
Yeah.
And that people are just born the same way, and then some people get to different places. There's no reason to. You've got your people with natural talent. Like, not everyone's born like LeBron James that can fucking score a jump like that or as fast as certain people physically, but most people are the same, and you don't really idolize people in charge. And a lot of people in government aren't not necessarily smarter than you. They might be dumber than you too. And just watching the way decisions are made for what reasons, and this with anything with experience, the older you get, the more you kind of it's almost like the thing where people die when they're old because they finally graduated. They know enough to move get promoted to the next level or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just think going around and, like, to a lot of people, Iraq was it's just something you turn on your TV, and when you're done with it, you turn it off, not realizing you can be there in 13 hours. Like, you can be in Baghdad. And it's not something on the screen. It's not entertainment. It's real life, and we're all in this shithole together.
Yes, sir.
And there's nothing wrong with asking a question. Like, when you watch and you know this, John, better than anybody. When you watch a politician get asked a question and someone specifically says yes or no, they can never say yes or no. It's just complete nonsensical bullshit. And I think seeing that over
but yes or no. Anything but yes or no, they fucking say.
Yep. Ask them a question, they won't say yes or no. It's just it's a bullshit talking point bullshit. And I think a lot of people just see that getting close to it. And there's smart guys in there, smart women in there, but there's also just yes men and dumb shits. And I think a lot of people are over it. Like, 9/11's here, we're going to win this war, and then the world peace. And that's like, all right, no, we're not. And
that was a nice story, though. I remember that story. It was a good one. I wanted to believe in it.
And if you look, it's the same fucking people. Same people.
It's not like Prescott Bush was a financier for the Nazis or anything. Listen though, I think that is an awesome thing. One of the Bush's
ancestors, great grandfather, was one of the guys that fell over and almost died on the Mayflower, held onto a rope, got pulled up. That's how the Bush family is that deep in this country. Like, they've been around,
motherfuckers or something, man.
Why was George H.W. Bush one of the only ones not to get killed in the plane that was shot down?
Great question. It's not like
Just
he was
weird
the leader
questions,
of the CIA or anything.
See, these are the things that get us in trouble, because God forbid we think outside the box.
Well, and see, I love that, and I think that kind of dials into the question I just gave you. I think after y'all go in there.
Hang on, breaking up there. We gotta start that over one more time. It broke up.
I'll start it over, brother. I think it bleeds into the question I just asked you perfectly, because I think veterans, it fills me with hope, because I think let's break it down right. Generally, you got a lot of people in the military are going to be naturally conservative minded, just in the American standard of it, right? And I think that transcends most countries. That's the way it works. But having said that, I think as you guys, go through your service and then come out of it, you start to maybe question things a little bit after you start to come to terms with the sacrifices that were asked of you. And I think that's, as this thing's grown, and that's why I say it fills me with hope, Robert, because as this thing's grown from, whatever, a few thousand followers to what we have now, millions of eyes, it's evolved, and I'm starting to think I know what I want it to be. and that is a bridge, okay? I want it to be a bridge
what's wrong with it?
for people to come back to center, for people to go, everything's become so polarized, and obviously I think you can tell I don't really have a camp. You know, I'm an anti-war novelist that grew up on Hemingway and Joseph Heller, you know, Catch-22, T.S. Eliot. Having said that, I have tremendous respect for my grandfather, who was actually a member of the Devil's Brigade in World War II.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, so they're the guys they based Inglourious Bastards off of. And I mean, he's an infinitely better and more badass man than me, and as are you, Robert. And I mean, that's facts. You are a hero. You're a hero for the commitment you made, for the bravery you've shown. You're a hero for being a good father, brother. You're a hero for taking that call from that friend of yours, right? That friend that's having a bad day.
Right. Yeah.
I wouldn't consider you a hero for killing Osama, though. My personal opinion, and I hope you don't.
Yeah.
I hope you don't fucking hate me for saying that.
Not at all. That's been a big pain in the ass, believe it or not.
I could believe it.
Not you saying that. It's just the Bin Laden. It's like, well, even to the point too, where they're like, well, why you keep talking about Bin Laden? And I'm like, I swear to God, if you stop asking me, I won't talk about him again. I think
we skirted it. We skirted it pretty good tonight, but I think it's definitely a pivotal part of something that we do. Inevitably, it's going to come up. But so when I say that, you know, it's not an attack on you or any soldier.
No, I don't.
I want to make that infinitely clear. It is an attack on a system that exploited your commitment to it and asked so much of you. And meanwhile, you know, I hate to say it, if it suited them, they'll throw you under the fucking bus in an instant.
No doubt about it.
Think about all the veterans on the streets right now, tonight, sitting here, vets on the streets. And I'm just fucking sick of it, Robert. I'm sick of it. And you guys deserve better. And that's my little piece I just wanted to say.
I agree.
So having said all that, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yes. Go ahead. I have one more question.
I was going to say just
one more question.
Just the way that you on the streets tonight, the only place they're not on the streets tonight is San Francisco, because they cleaned that up because the communists are now hosting the fucking communists.
Where did they all go? Where did all those homeless people go?
No one knows. Maybe they all finally gave him a tour of Alcatraz or something like that. But
they sent them on buses to New York. Let's be real. That's always where they end up. God damn it. So having said all that, let me just ask you this. Did things get better after Osama is dead, or have things changed at all?
As far as, well, I mean, that for a couple of reasons, yes, because he was the face of 9/11, and we were able to prove that if we want to, and if we all work together, if there's someone doing harm, we have the capability and the men and women who go get it solved.
Yeah.
Which I mean, we could do, and that's great. And you know, he was a piece of shit. So
okay.
You know, I'm not going to say anything good about him, but yeah, that was a great mission. We proved we could do it. Even when they said SEAL Team 6 did it, that's fine, because I do want them to know that there are people out there. Like, the reason it's called SEAL Team 6 is because at first there was SEAL Team 1, SEAL Team 2, and then in 80 there was SEAL Team 6, because they knew the Russians would say there's SEAL Team 1, SEAL Team 2, and 6. Where the hell are 3, 4, and 5?
3, 4, 5.
So you got to get in your head there. So yeah, that was good that way.
So wait, was it not supposed to? Sorry, Robert. Was it not supposed to ever be released that it was you guys? Did that like happen by accident?
No, that was Joe Biden. He said it. When we flew, by the time
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
God bless them. I didn't realize
we got
that.
back. I mean, you got to figure, here's a bunch of dudes. There's 23 dudes that are used to being sort of behind the curtain, and like, we got back, showered up, we were putting our shit on to fly. We went to the computers to send in. I mean, like, people didn't even know we were out of the country, and we went to check emails, and all over Yahoo and shit is like, Bin Laden dead, SEAL Team 6 got him. It's like, wow, that was fucking fast.
Okay, yeah, whoops.
And then
well,
that changed everything
Sleepy
too.
Joe. He's losing his mind. He's been a geriatric for 20 fucking years, so he doesn't know what he's saying.
What's funny too is he was like the only dude that said that he didn't want to send us after him. And then as soon as we got him, he's like, yeah, SEAL Team 6, and we did it. It's like, well, Joe, fine.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
He did give me a coin though that I have. That's kind of cool. I have a coin from Joe Biden that from the raid that killed Bin Laden.
The promise coin? Is that what that's called?
Challenge coin.
Challenge coin. So you got to show it, and then if you show it to someone, they got to. I know there's different.
Yeah, the way it works is if you present a coin and they have it, you owe them a drink. If they don't have it, they owe you a drink.
I
and
have
that
one
started
too.
actually, I think,
got
in
from-
World War One. They well, it started in Roman times. You'd wear a coin to prove you're part of a unit. But in World War One, right when they were doing aircraft, someone got shot down behind enemy lines, and the French found him. And the only reason they recognized it was because of a coin he had or some shit. And they it stayed a tradition with military units. Pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I'm not using that one. The one I got from Biden, the one I got from Obama, I'm just going to keep those unless unless someone makes a really good offer.
That'll be the only currency worth any money soon enough, my friend.
Right.
Listen,
I'm assuming
Robert,
they're solid gold.
thank you so much, man, for coming on. It's been over 2 hours, bro. I could sit here and keep ripping with you, but my producer's got to go. I can see him looking at me. And, I do have one last one, if you don't mind. It's just a light question. It's not,
Do it.
So what did you guys actually do with his body, Osama's body?
Okay, now that's a great question, because I was told they threw him in the ocean, and that's here's the last time I saw his body was when we handed him over to the Army, and the Army took him in a helicopter. That's all I know for sure. I can say, because I'm a believer now that if I saw it with my own eyes, I can tell you. If I didn't, I will caveat with either I've never met the guy or I wasn't there. So I saw them take him. And when people ask me now, how do you know his body is not in formaldehyde at the agency? I'm like, I actually don't know. He might be. But they told me they threw him off the carrier. They said they gave me the coordinates. I have the coordinates. And they painted the pad eye on the ship, I think, red. So they said they threw him in the ocean. I guarantee he's dead. I shot him 3 times in the head. I hope they release the pictures. I want them to release the pictures just so people can see it.
So, there are pictures, but the ones online.
You're breaking up. We gotta wait for this because this is going to be good.
Sorry, that's all right. Let me know when I'm back.
Everything paused. Everything paused there. Start that again because this is too good to miss.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just you're clear, so we'll start from where that. So so the picture thing, there are pictures, but they're not the ones that are online, right? Like the ones online are not real, because I know there's some out there.
They're not. No. If you ever see them, and they're from his nose up to his head, it's split. I'm talking split. Yeah. I shot him 3 times at basically point blank with hollow points, 5.56 millimeter. One of the pictures we have on Target, you'll see my hands, my gloves. I have those gloves right there over my shoulder, holding his head together with gloves. That's a couple of them.
Christ.
And then the other ones, the professional ones, were done at Bagram Airfield by a professional CIA, I'm assuming, guy that was he was also doing the DNA testing. He took professional pictures. We were actually listening to President Obama speak. That's actually a story where I'm the Army brought us breakfast sandwiches. I'm watching. I hear President Obama say, "Tonight I can report to the American people and to the world the United States conducted an operation to kill Osama bin Laden, leader of Al Qaeda." I hear Obama say Osama bin Laden. I look at Osama bin Laden. I thought, how in the fuck did I get here from Butte, Montana?
That's a trip, brother. That's a trip.
World,
I mean, so it is documented, though. It is documented. Like, there is because I mean, I think a lot of people wonder, is there even any proof? But
they should
there
show
are pictures. There's pictures out there. That's it. That's interesting. That's good. I can't wait for the day those pics come out. I want to look at them. Actually,
I've heard a rumor they're not even in a safe. They're in like a file cabinet in Langley or some shit. I had a congressman tell me that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Just the bureaucrats at it again, eh? Fucking bureaucrats.
What's going on? Whatever. I'm
bureaucrats at it again. Yeah, don't worry. Yours paused, but on my end, it's good, Robert. So you're good. That's it. That's all I got. I appreciate the candidness tonight, brother. I appreciate you having some fun with me and letting me be my jackass self.
Love it.
You let me know, and I can't wait to come on your podcast, which is called The Operator. The Operator, is that just for anyone curious? I'm going to put the links in the description.
Yeah, put
for
the
all
links
your
there,
stuff.
and it's on my social media too, right there in the link tree. The Operator podcast is everywhere.
Beautiful.
I'm definitely going to have you on it soon.
Let's do it.
And we're going to do this. I mean, we have so much shit to solve. Like, we can do this a lot. So plan on doing this again, John. This is awesome.
You take care of yourself, brother. Stay safe.
Yeah, bro.
We'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Bye.
Talk soon. You too. Bye.